Hey, hello everyone. I'm Howard Berger from Realcomm, and I am glad to be here on the Realcomm live stage with our Realcomm co-chairs. So to my immediate right, Sunder Pappu, Senior Vice President, Head of Technology for Inland Real Estate. Next, Helane Stein, Senior Vice President and CIO for Brixmor. And over to the far right, Soheil Pourhashemi, Executive Vice President, Business Technology at Brookfield Properties. Welcome, chairs.
Thank you, Cal.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to thank you all for the time, the energy, and the effort that you all gave to all phases. I know we're still early in on the conference, but I think of probably all the unexpected calls and emails and things that were asked of you, especially in preparation for the general session, which we just completed a couple of hours ago, and I think just went swimmingly. It was fantastic. Thank you all. I wish, on one hand, I know you didn't get a chance. I wish you could have actually seen it, because it really was well done. It was really inspiring. So for you, the folks that are listening in, we completed a couple of hours ago general session of the conference where our CEO Jim Young hosted a discussion with our Realcomm and IBCon chairs, and you're going to be hearing from them also a little bit later on, that focused on the big topics impacting our industry. So first of all, let me just ask you, Soheil, how did you think it went this morning?
I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, really good group of people together. I think there was a lot of cohesion. Yes, we did prep, but we were changing it to the last minute, and just the conversation flowed really well, and everybody complimented each other. So yeah, it was really good.
What do you think, Helane?
I thought the same thing, that it was a lot of fun, and it's really interesting that in all different asset classes, we're all dealing with the same types of issues and challenges, and the willingness to share those experiences amongst the whole community is terrific.
Sunder.
So from my perspective, the flow of Eileen starting saying blow everything up to the very end to say, we need to actually, look at the data strategy, have an AI strategy, then build on that, and then the risk and rewards of actually driving some of those things. The flow of that particular session was pretty well done. So, based on everyone's input, and as Soheil mentioned, till the last minute.
And it's really funny because we were just in alphabetical order.
Right, and that's true.
And it still flowed perfectly.
Exactly. Yeah.
It did, and one of the remarkable things that I noticed, and I noticed this yesterday in the CIO roundtable with that opening session, I know there wasn't a lot of formal prep for it, but I saw the chemistry between you three, and the way and the ease in which you guys really were able to share your perspectives and share your insights, and just have, I thought it was a very easy flowing conversation that really hit the high points of what we were trying to focus on. Really how a CIO can really elevate themselves to the executive table. It was, and I felt that same kind of ease with the entire group this morning. So you all shared some insights, key topics, and challenges, and then had some closing takeaways for the audience. So let's just take a couple of minutes and maybe just kind of review some of the things that you discussed this morning, and maybe starting with Soheil.
No, for sure. Look, one of the things I'll add to what you were saying is that it's very common that we're all tackling the same challenges, and I believe that's what you're seeing, that cohesion between everybody, and this forum is perfect for that. One of my closing statements was around being curious, and I think part of that is, people need to come out there, meet with your peers, meet with us, meet with the vendors and your partners, and we all collectively, we're all in the same, everything is the same. Mm-hmm. We're same challenges, and I think we together, are a bigger unit that we could, do transformation. You're not alone in this, and that's really the message that I wanted to give to people.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about our community is I think a lot of our folks are, especially our CIO group, once they've been kind of involved for a year or so, or been in events, sat on panels with you guys, they feel like they they can open up and they can share and they can that people are listening and they can share their concerns. I think it's special. Yeah. So Helane, what were your thoughts?
A couple of things. One, again, we're all facing the same challenges. We're in an environment where we have high interest rates, but it's also an exciting time in that there's a lot of innovation. AI is beyond the hype. It's real, and we're all trying to figure out what our strategy looks in incorporating it to actually solve business problems, not to chase the shiny object. We all have a lot of data, and it's not all good data, and figuring out how we incorporate it into our AI and BI strategies. And also, though, we have increasing cyber risks. So how do we balance innovation, the risk rewards in a budget-conscious, resource-constrained environment and still produce and help drive the business strategy? And it's an exciting time. I think, Jim in the beginning of the session showed an iPhone from back in 2001, and where we are today, the iPhone was a game changer, and I think AI is going to have that same imprint on the future of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So AI is not Apple intelligence, so let's make that clear.
Yes.
Even though Jim actually showed the iPhone on there. So the way I basically, I'll continue on what I said. AI is here to stay. It is not something that even if we don't embrace, someone is going to do that, take that and take it forward. And one of the things that I actually look at is how can you actually harness that power? And these are some of the things that we are looking at, right? So how would I actually talk to you briefly about some of those things is how can you actually take this AI, put it into a box, and then basically be able to take everything that will actually help you drive from a workflow perspective or a task perspective. That's where the future is. And that's where you need to actually aim for, not I talk to, I get a result. That's not what we should be looking at, because that's the past. We should be looking at some of these things where it can actually help taking from point A to point B, completing all the tasks. That's where I see the future.
Yeah.
And that's all we work through.
It struck me, and I knew that they were doing this when Sandeep this morning from CBRE talked about the hackathon, where they had 500 folks from not just from technology but from the business units, actually creating, creating use cases and apps. I mean, how do we? And I think about this a lot. How do we drive that education and create those upskill, opportunities in our organization, which I think is going to be. I think it's always been important, but now with AI, I think it's extremely important that we do that.
I think the culture has to embrace it. At least for our organization, they're very career development focused and provide a lot of training opportunities for everyone in the company in numerous different ways, both inside the company and outside. I also think, to Soheil's point, we all need to be curious, and we all need to help our teams be curious, because that's going to drive results.
I think that's the key. Yeah. I agree.
Look, another thing that we do is we have internship programs, and we actually learn from the interns coming in, because they're coming out from university, and they're asking, and they're being taught these technologies. So when they come in, they actually become disruptive for us at that time.
So they catalyze your curiosity. Yeah. That's a great point.
And one other thing that we can do is when we have these core teams, when we're trying to roll out new technologies, adopt new technologies, is it has to be top down and bottom up, that you have all different skill sets and levels within the organization, who then can be the early adopters and then be the evangelists and advocates that really do help stir that excitement and get people to adopt it without fear.
Yeah, one of the things that I look at it's a very small community, right? So I challenged you guys, like last time that I was there, what are we doing about AI? And, we started on the advisory council. And
you did, it was like on this stage.
On the stage, right. I will challenge you again today. The thing, the hackathons that Sandeep talked about, Right now, it's basically some of the leaders who are basically driving this. Why don't we take it a level down? Basically get some hackathon. It doesn't have to, everyone has to come into a certain place. You can do it remotely. I have seen this happen with other companies wherein they do hackathons remotely. Pick a use case internally and try that. That basically provides a collaboration, and not only that, that also provides a view into what others are trying to do.
I had an idea on that, which I'll probably not develop quite enough now, but I'm working with a university to see how we might develop something like that we can push through us, dedicated to our industry, not cross industry. So it's a great conversation. I think we hit on some really key points. So I just noticed we're out of time. It's gone really fast. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you all, and thank you. You guys like really just, it was so impressive. You just so stepped up and were willing to give and contribute to this. Your fingerprints are all over this conference. So if you had a good time, I can tell you the folks that saw the general session this morning, for everybody I heard thought it was like fantastic. So thank you.
Well, and thank you, Howard, for all you do and you've done for the community over so many years and bringing us all together.
Pleasure working with you guys.
In the ending, I do want that whiskey bottle wherever it is.
That was fun. Thank you.